On. There we go, and we are live.
Ew.
What's happening, Luke?
What is cooking, my man?
You know, all the things that happen in a week. It's,
right?
Pretty impressive. So, we got to talk about we got all kinds of things. Let's just unpack it from the beginning. First of all, it seems like it's a repeat back on August 17th on. And that Friday after August 17th, when the whole buyer agency and the whole thing in real estate changed, I made the comment that the sun still came up, and it's weird.
Right.
The industry didn't blow up. And then now we had our national election, and Trump was in a landslide kind of reelected for his second term. Second time in history that a president is serving two terms, not consecutively. Grover Cleveland. I learned that Grover Cleveland was the first that did that. But the world didn't end.
And the sun still shines.
And the sun is still shining.
Did not end for half of the population.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you
know, nobody lost their rights.
Nobody lost their right. Look, they didn't lose their rights the first go around, so I'm not entirely sure how this whole narrative is coming up. You know, I actually don't think I'm going to be very. You know, I've closed down a bunch of resources because you're showing up blurry. Let me close this and see if I can't show up. Get the blurriness gone. Increase the bandwidth. You know, it's weird. Oh, there we go. So now you're clear. Just goes to show I can't be operating a whole lot of different programs. I probably shouldn't be having a whole lot of programs on when we're going live anyways. But look, I don't think that I think the economy is in for a rude awakening. Regardless who is in office, I think that we're so deep into this that one thing I know for certain is that lowering taxes, even though I don't want to pay any more taxes, I don't think lowering taxes with the tremendous amount of debt that we have, and then without reducing any type of entitlements or national debt, I don't think that's going to change anything. Like, how do you pencil that? How do you turn our economy around by decreasing the amount of money come in and keeping the spending the same?
Well, I mean, from the sound of it, it sounds like the Doge is going to be able to come in and cut a good. I mean, Elon said what, $2 trillion?
Yeah.
From,
so you watched the podcast with Joe Rogan and him, or did you catch the sound?
I've seen him. I've seen that come up a couple times. I mean, but that was like a hard, which I don't. I mean, obviously he's brilliant dude, and so I mean, let's be real, we all know that there's plenty of like
things to cut,
like insane amount of
he said
spending.
That there was like 400 and between 400 and 500 different federal agencies, which is two times the number of years that the United States has been a country. Two
a year since would. Like, why? What?
Yeah. So, no, there's no doubt that you could probably just split half of that. But when you look at most of our spending is in entitlements and in national defense. And
right.
I mean, we don't even we barely break even on national defense, not including entitlements or something like that. So there's no talk, like entitlements and national defense are not even on the table. And so now we're going to tax cuts. So in 4 years, at best, 4 years is going to be able to redo the past. Now, the one thing that Elon did say, Elon's whole position was he felt that this election was our last chance for a two-party election. Like, vote as if your life depended on it, and that's kind of his position. So I think there's a lot of good that's going to be able to come out of this, I hope. You've heard me say that candidate Trump the last time spoke a really good narrative, but when he became president, kind of just continued printing money and doing everything else. But here's the other thing, though. We just have to adapt to the environment that we're in. The only thing that we could do, and not really you and I, because you live in Texas, I live in California. Texas goes red anyways. California goes blue anyways. That's never going to change, probably. So we just have to adjust. We just need to do what we need to do in order to adjust for the environment that we're in, because there is nothing that we can do or say that's going to change anything. We've done what we could do. We've done it. We did it by voting. Now we just have to let this thing play itself out and do what we need to do.
So I mean, at the end of the day, it's our own personal responsibility is to act and behave how we hope to see the rest of the country and citizens and all that good stuff. But yeah, a personal accountability at the end of the day, to help take care of business and do what we need to do regardless of who's in charge.
Yeah.
But
and we're talking, there are some people
not trending in the right direction.
There are people who are just losing it. Number one, I don't understand why anybody would go online and just absolutely lose it about anything. Like, I don't see any way that could be good for anybody. Definitely not a good career move, I don't think. My opinion.
I mean, there's clearly some mental deficiencies there for people to do that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's people like shaving their heads and.
Oh, is that a real thing? I was wondering if that was just
yeah.
That's genius. I'm so upset that I'm going to cut off all my hair. Okay. That's your protest? You're going to cut off your hair?
The 4B movement. They're not having unprotected sex. They're not withholding sex before marriage. You're like, wait, that's almost kind of like what people were going for.
Where's the penalty to society here?
It almost seems like people were.
Yeah. It's like, okay, keep going.
You're instilling some morals and values into the culture. Okay, and what else?
Yeah, not seeing the penalty to society here.
Yeah, you're like, wait a minute. Yeah. So. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. I don't care
abstaining from relations.
I don't care who it is. Our job hasn't changed. The salesperson's job hasn't changed. The real estate person's job. The environment in which we work may change, but for the short term, your job is to get out there, beat obscurity, generate a lead, learn how to have conversations to convert those people into clients, sell houses.
Beat obscurity. I love that.
Yeah, I often I have this class that I teach. It's called The Modern Consumer Journey, How to Magnetically Attract Buyers and Sellers. And using the data that's in the NAR profile of home buyers and sellers, they come out every year with it. In fact, they just came out with 2023, so I'll be getting that. And you don't see much change. Behavior patterns don't change typically a lot year over year. But when you look at it 25 years ago compared to now, you can see a drastic change in consumer behavior. But what they've come up with is that people, they do business with people who they know, like, and trust. That's what they say. As far as sellers, and we'll see what happens in 2023, but in 2022, 81% of all sellers, they only met with one agent before they listed their home with them. Only one. But yet, they work with people who they know, like, and trust. So then you tie that into what Google said 12 years ago, saying that 88% of all consumers, they've already made the decision what they're going to buy and who they're going to work with before they actually meet with them. So how are they doing that? How are they getting to know and like and trust then? And this is where it goes into search. I think search is such a underrated vehicle in real estate. Everybody wants to, be an influencer on social media, and they're not even considering the fact that they're missing out on behavior patterns. Because when people look for something, they go and search. They don't go search Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or LinkedIn. They actually go to Google and they search the question that they're looking for.
Even when, and I've beat this drum so hard too. Even your referrals, you are still an online lead to the referrals that you get. So even if it's friends and family and everything else, they are still looking you up. If they don't know who you are to begin with, hey, you should work with my friend Brett. The first thing I'm going to do is Google and look you up, and what I find there is going to help for my decision. Obviously, a vote of confidence from somebody that you already know goes a long way. But if then I go over and I look and you have like 3 stars and you got some questionable reviews, like, well, even though I trust my friend enough to go look that up, well, it's probably that's important.
Yeah.
So I constantly reiterate that to people all the time, like, hey, even you are still an online lead to all of your referrals, your sphere of influence, and it's just the buying behavior. Like, we look at that's the way we shop.
Yeah. And what's interesting with this is not an opinion. Now, we have our opinions, but this is rooted in, number one, I think everybody at some degree or level, they understand how technology has influenced our society, social media, search. And number two is there's years over years over years of data that shows that this is the case. What people need to understand is that the next person that you're working with, whether you're mortgages, whether you're selling houses, whether you're selling cars, your interview has already started. It's already started once a stimulus enters somebody's life, and now they're going to think about doing what they're going to do. The next step in the equation is they're going to go and search answers. They're going to go to Google. They're going to Google homes for sale in XYZ neighborhood. They're going to Google, how does this work? And the people who have adopted that are going to be they're going to be fine. So people know. What's interesting is that people are still asking me questions about how do hashtags work in social media. That's how far off some of these people are on the learning curve.
Now, you did say something earlier, which I don't necessarily wholeheartedly agree with, where this is the search when it comes to being only Google. Because right now, I more often than not will search TikTok before Google.
Oh, that's interesting. What I would say in regards to that,
this is my own personal behavior too.
Yeah. But here's the thing: you're not the normal person when it comes to understanding technology and platforms. Most people don't have the knowledge that you have in regards to how all these platforms work. So my guess would be that if you take the layman, the person who's in their, Gen X or older, because that's what people are buying. Those are the people who are buying, and those are the people who are selling houses. The minority are the younger people. But if you take the average seller who's 60, they understand Facebook-ish. They're probably not posting a whole lot, but they totally get Google. They understand email. They understand a lot of different things. So I would say that I don't think that you're the majority. I don't think that I think, and you know, the way that you have to look at that is look at the reports. You have to look and see what these surveys are coming back from, like the profile of buyers and sellers from NAR. You got to look and see the data of what the Google trends are on these various different age demographics. Because I'm the same way. I don't just do Google. In fact, most of my stuff now is going through Grok on X. I start there.
Nice.
But when I talk to anyone within
don't get
my
me wrong,
field,
I still absolutely use Google a lot for, you know, like a good, you know, a good kind of like cross section, like, you know, like say I'm looking at like restaurants or whatever, I'll like search restaurants in the area, you know, and I'm like, okay, I'm looking at Mexican restaurants in a town that I don't know, and I'll see a lot of them, you know, and then I'll be like, okay, each one of these has like a lot of reviews. Well, then I'll switch over to, you know, see some content based off of them on like Instagram or TikTok, and be like, okay, this is like, now I can see the, you know, the types of food, like people filming the content. I'm like, this is clearly more my style, a kind of vibe that I want to go for. I mean, it's the whole picture, right? You know, we can't just leave everything to just, you know, I will say that Google, YouTube, Google reviews, Google Maps, definitely don't want to sleep on the other platforms for search either.
you know, when I speak with, everybody knows who ChatGPT is now. I think they've done a pretty good position in marketplace. They were the first kind of to the market. Most people that I speak with, they're not really engaging on X, and they don't know who Grok is, and which is interesting to me, because I think that I think Grok is becoming more and more powerful and more reliable. Not to mention the cost is significantly. It's, you know, it's almost an add-in for a premium feature of being X. Actually, that's right. It's not almost. It is. It's an add-in feature to that. And then you have Elon, who just went and dropped like $1 billion on all these NVIDIA supercomputers to build out this whole AI model that everyone said was going to take him like 3 to 5 years to do, and he did it in like 30 days.
You underestimated the speed at which I operate.
Yeah. You want to get something done? Go tell Elon he can't do it. Right. You know, going back to the political environment, in that Joe Rogan. Now I got to watch the Joe Rogan podcast in doses. I don't have 3 hours each day to listen to Joe and have conversations. And so, and I don't listen to all of them. I did listen to the one with Trump. I did listen to the one with JD Vance, and I did listen to the one with Elon the day before the elections. So I did listen to those in full, but not in full without breaks. It was like 30-minute increments on 2x the speed, because I don't know how. Yeah. Honest to God, I don't know how people have 3 hours. I don't know how they have 3 hours just to Now I could do it, but that just means it takes away from other things. Like, I don't know. It's absolutely amazing. But he had said that. Yeah, Joe said that you're the number one. Elon said that he's probably the number 2 on the hit list. Hit list being that he's like the biggest enemy for the left. But he also Joe said that you probably have the most to lose. Like, he has all these government contracts. He has SpaceX. There's a lot of regulations and such. So I don't know where I was going with that, but
yeah, that's I mean, I mean, just look at like the EV TV Summit. Like, what just a slap in the face. Like, when they put that on, like, not inviting him, like, fuck you. Like, are you kidding me?
He created the industry.
One thing that I found, yeah, like, what a slap in the face.
All right, so I don't know what's going on with the blurriness because I'm looking at the bandwidth statistics and it's well below where the data.
So there's a little bit interesting when I toggle up and down my cameras. Like, I have one camera and it's like crystal clear. When it's not in the frame, that I will look at that and everything comes through perfectly fine. But then when I switch my view back to like the side by side, then it goes all blurry again. But
oh yeah, see, now you're clear.
Some real life tech.
Did you just do anything in the last second because now you're clear?
So right now I'm looking at myself on the camera. So I have like picture in picture. So on my end, the side by side is the small picture in picture, and just my head is big.
Oh, interesting. Well, now you just blurred out again.
Switch it back.
Now you just blurred out again.
Okay, so that's the thing. So the side by side, when I do side by side big, and myself picture, so I think that's what it is there. Now it's back.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you just got live tech support, or how we troubleshoot things. Have you ever seen Newsroom?
Live troubleshooting.
Have you ever seen Newsroom on Max?
Is that the TV show?
Yeah.
I've heard of it, or I heard it that it was pretty good.
Yeah, I started watching season 1, and it's actually really good. And it's an older show. It's not new, but I like it. But that's what I'm watching. I bring that up because it really breaks down the production of how main corporate media does things, and it's just pretty fascinating. In fact, we're going to be adjusting the way that we do things because every time I do something, my brain's always working on something. And the way that they come up with their content and produce the content and such, I think is very, very it's still relevant to today on what we're doing. So
that's funny. You're like, I'm going to adjust my my strategy here based off of the TV show that the inputs that we get sometimes that we don't expect to get ideas and inspiration from.
Yeah, well, I'm
that's pretty cool.
For for what I do on the daily and for learning and training, I want to do some more live segments, but I'm just now my thought process is I'm like, okay, well, instead of just doing panels like everyone does, I can almost report on real estate, but segment things out. And like, you got 5 minutes for a market update. I'll bring somebody else in. I can bring somebody else in and we can talk about this. We do that for 10, 15 minutes. And then, kind of like a actual show instead of me just talking for an hour, which when you do something like that, you typically lose people very, very quickly.
Yeah.
But if you copy the way that attention is gathered and given on these major, you learn a lot just by being an observer. Because if regardless of the channel you like, go to CNN, go to MSNBC, go to Fox, go to all of these shows, and then take out the content of it and just watch the production as an observer.
Yeah.
And it will give you, that's the best education you can. You know what the best, in my opinion, the best business show that everybody should be watching is Shark Tank. I think everybody should be watching Shark Tank. You got an hour, and you've got negotiations back and forth and having a pitch, and you get to hear these personal opinions of these very highly successful people.
Yeah.
You know what I hear from those guys a lot is they value work ethic. They value the struggle that people go through. They value the fact that, you did it, you bootstrapped it, you made it successful. You funded it yourself. You're working 18 hours a day. They value that type of
100%
work ethic. And that's interesting because nobody wants to do that anymore in my experience.
Unless they're doing it for themselves, right?
Yeah, unless they're doing it for themselves.
Your comments about the production and changing up your content reminded me of our conversation last week about previewing a home on your travels.
I did preview the homes on my travels. I just didn't record it. I tried recording it, and then I just had technical difficulties. So, but here's the interesting thing with that is, number one, I went for a walk, and it's weird because in New Jersey, sidewalks just end. They just stop. Like
we're done.
It's like I'm a first-person video game, and I'm just kind of walking around trying to figure out how to get across the street and such. And because the map that the hotel gave me into this neighborhood that's by it, really nice neighborhood, it's like, okay, I'm here. I need to get to here. Their map took me to a place to nowhere, and it goes, there's it's called the JFK something. It was like a freeway. It was like a really busy road that I was not going to go across without a crosswalk, without stops. But I am going to do what we talked about on my one channel, on this channel, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them in the different folders, right? So I'm not going to do a new channel. I'm just going to have the different folders, and in the folders themselves, I'm thinking, and I don't know how well it's going to work because I just don't know. We'll figure it out. It's going to be a test. Here's what I do know is the reason why I'm doing it is, number one, nobody's doing it. And, number two, nobody's doing it. That's the only reason I'm doing it.
Nobody's doing it and nobody's doing it.
Yeah. Not where people are doing it, just not where I'm at.
Right.
And there are a lot of other things I would rather be doing than getting back into the, to selling. So I'm not going to do that, but definitely going to create that and start doing that content based on a lot of the stuff that you and I just talked about with production standpoint. So we'll see how it works. So this week I'm going to, I've already done this. I got to start looking at the demographics. I got to start looking at the annual turnover rate. I already know what it is, but I got to kind of update it based on a zip code. So I'm going to look at the zip code, find out how many single family homes are in there, find out how many sales have occurred in the last 12 months so that I can do a percentage of year over year transactions, find out what the median sales price is, and then dive in and find out who is the top listing agent in there and who is the top company or company, not so much important. It is from a company level, but really just dive in and then start dissecting what their value proposition is and do that. And I'm going to just create videos every step of the way.
Love it.
So, all right, man, we are at time. So Luke, it's always a pleasure. I will see you next week.
Let's get it.
Bye.